Only one U.S. consulate in China issues immigrant visas, and every case ends up there. It's in Guangzhou, and it doesn't matter whether your spouse lives in Beijing, Shanghai, or a village in Fujian. There's also one appointment the consulate won't let you book early, and getting that one out of order costs months.
This is River. Where they live in China doesn't move the consulate. It only changes the train ride.
That surprises people, so hold on to it. And the paperwork that gets someone into that building has to satisfy two governments, not one. That second government is the part the generic guides skip entirely.
Hey everyone, Michael here. Step 1 belongs to the American, not the immigrant. The United States citizen files Form I-130 with USCIS, and nothing downstream can start until that petition is approved.
And that first form proves a relationship. It is not the green card.
Once it's approved, the case leaves USCIS entirely and lands at the National Visa Center. That handoff is where most people lose the thread. The agency changes, the website changes, and so does the list of what they want from you.
Then comes the line that decides everything, River. Your civil documents must be issued by the official issuing authority in your country, not a photocopy in a drawer at home, and not a translation you did yourself. So why do documents from home get sent back so often?
In China, that one sentence turns into a chain of offices, and it's the part that stalls real cases. Michael, take us to the fork first. Before any of that matters, your spouse has to be standing on the correct road. Real quick, because this next part matters to you. If any of this is helping, tap that like button, then hit subscribe and ring the bell so the next one finds you. Both are free and take about a second, but they tell the algorithm to show this to one more person who needs it. Professor Iwata is at the desk today because this fork is the one she watches people collapse into a single question. There are two roads a spouse can take to a green card, and only one of them runs through Guangzhou.
Depends which fork you mean. If your spouse is already lawfully inside the United States, the case can finish there without anyone flying anywhere. If they're in China, it goes abroad. Those are different processes with different forms.
Wei is a nurse in Xiamen. She married a United States citizen in March, and her husband filed the petition that April from Ohio. Wei never sets foot in America during any of what comes next.
So she's on the consular road by default. And here's the part that actually helps her, Professor Iwata. She's not waiting in a line.
Correct, and it's worth being precise about why. A spouse of a United States citizen is an immediate relative, which means there's no annual cap on that category. The moment the petition is approved, a visa number is available.
No line. People genuinely don't believe that one.
The trade is that consular processing means Wei stays in China until the visa is actually issued. She can't fly over early and wait it out here on a visitor stamp. And that's where couples ask about the K1 fiancé visa instead, which does get someone here sooner.
The honest downside of the K1 is that it only starts the job. They arrive, then you marry, then you still file for adjustment of status and wait again for work authorization. An adjustment of status only exists if your spouse is already lawfully inside the United States. Both things are true at once, which is exactly why the roads get blurred.
So it's not a preference, it's a location.
So here's what I'd actually do. If you're already married, stay on the immigrant visa road and let your spouse arrive as a permanent resident on day one. The K1 fits the couple who genuinely isn't married yet and needs to be together to do it. Either way, the case then moves to an agency most people have never heard of.
The National Visa Center is where your case spends its entire middle. It is not USCIS, it doesn't use the same login, and it won't tell you that you're standing in the wrong place.
It announces itself with a welcome letter. That letter carries your case number, and without it you can't log into anything at all.
Hold on. How does anyone know what order to do this in?
Fair, and I want to correct how I used to say this. The State Department's own immigrant visa process pages set the order, and it's not pay whenever you get around to it. Fees come first at the Consular Electronic Application Center, and the system won't let you move forward until they post.
Let me put the whole middle stage in one place because the order is exactly what people invert.
It starts with that welcome letter landing in your email. Then you log in at the Consular Electronic Application Center, the site everyone just calls CEAC, and you pay the processing fees there.
Then you allow roughly 10 calendar days for those fees to post before you try the next step. People submit on day 2, watch nothing move, and decide the case is broken.
If you hold one thing from the scene, hold the order. Fees, form, then documents. 1 cup, done right, beats 4 done twice.
After the fees clear, you complete Form DS-260 online, which is the immigrant visa application itself. Meanwhile, your sponsor back in the United States uploads Form I-864, the affidavit of support, with the financial evidence behind it.
And then the civil documents. Wait until you see how many separate offices one birth certificate has to pass through before it counts.
Professor Iwata is back with us because this is the stage where 2 governments actually collide. Everything the United States wants out of a Chinese record has to be produced by a Chinese office first.
So what actually stalls a China case? Not the dramatic denial anyone pictures, the quiet one.
The civil documents almost every time. A Chinese birth certificate for immigration isn't the booklet a hospital handed your parents. It has to be a notarial certificate issued by a local notary public office. It must state the date, the place of birth, and the names of both parents.
Both parents, even if one has passed. That decimal level detail is Erica's lane, I'd get it wrong.
Even if a parent has died, yes, and that's the half of the answer people miss. The notarial certificate is a new document built out of the old record. You're never sending them your original. You're asking a Chinese notary office to certify what the original says.
Let me walk the chain because it's 4 rungs and everybody tries to jump to the last one.
It starts at the local office that actually holds the underlying record. A hospital, a civil affairs bureau, or for a police record, the Public Security Bureau. The original booklet sitting at home is not the document they want.
Then the notary public office turns that record into the notarial certificate. For a police certificate, the sequence is strict. You obtain the certificate of no criminal record from the Public Security Bureau first, and only then apply to the notary office for a certificate based on it.
3rd rung, a certified English translation attached to that notarial document. 4th, it goes up to the National Visa Center through your case. Skip a rung and the whole thing comes back to you.
I will concede the obvious complaint. This is more bureaucracy than any one family should have to learn, and it's genuinely slow. What I won't concede is that it's arbitrary. Every rung exists so an officer can trust a record from a system they've no way to go audit. Thank you, Professor Iwata.
Paper that can be checked beats paper that can't. That's the entire rule.
Which brings us to Guangzhou itself, and to that one appointment I told you not to book early. Here's that appointment. The medical exam, and you are not permitted to take it until an interview has actually been scheduled.
Not unwise, not discouraged, not permitted.
Right, because the validity of the visa is tied to the, actually, let me be exact about this one. The validity of your visa is tied to your medical exam's validity. So an exam taken too early doesn't just waste the fee, it starts a clock you can't pause.
And you do not have to travel to Guangzhou for it. The interview is in Guangzhou, but the exam happens at a designated panel physician. There are centers in Guangzhou, Fuzhou, Shanghai, and Beijing.
I'd rather pull the page than guess here. The consulate's own medical instructions say medical examinations conducted elsewhere will not be accepted. So it's not any clinic near you, it's that list.
Bring your passport and 5 visa photographs to the exam. Every person examined needs their own passport and their own 5 photos, children included. I'm restoring a card catalog at home, one labeled drawer at a time, and this stage rewards exactly that temperament.
5, not 2, not 4, 5 per person.
When it's finished, you receive a sealed medical report. And this is the one that trips people, River. Do not open that envelope. You carry it to the interview sealed and the officer opens it.
Some applicants go through an electronic medical process instead, and those applicants get no sealed envelope at all. Confirm which one applies to you when you book, because arriving expecting the wrong one costs you the appointment.
One phone call saves the whole day.
Then it's interview day at the consulate, where an officer sits down with your spouse and decides whether they're eligible for the visa. And what happens after that officer says yes isn't what most people picture. The visa in the passport isn't the green card. It's permission to travel to a port of entry and ask to be admitted, and it carries an expiration date.
Your spouse becomes a lawful permanent resident at the moment they're admitted at a United States port of entry, not when the visa is printed, at the border.
The card itself comes later, in the mail.
Which is why the address you give at entry matters more than it looks. That's where a card representing years of work gets sent, and there's a fork at entry that catches couples off guard, River. If you've been married less than 2 years on the day of admission, the card issued is conditional and it runs 2 years.
2 years. Then you file again to remove those conditions. Different form, different window, and it's not automatic.
One sentence covers this whole road. Every rung of that Chinese paper chain exists so an officer can trust a record they've no way to go and audit, and the family that keeps a copy of all of it never climbs it twice.
The number I can't unhear is 1. One consulate for all of it.
Next time we take that notarial chain apart office by office, and if you know someone whose spouse is still in China, send them this one. The order of those 4 rungs is the part nobody tells you.
If this is useful to you, subscribe, because we keep these steps current as forms and fees change, and in immigration they change constantly. Which document in this whole process would you most want walked through line by line? Whatever stage of this road you're standing on today, keep your copies, keep your receipts, and take care of each other out there.